Wealth Builders.
Welcome back to another episode of the Bemused, where we talk about all things personal finance for young adults just like you and me. I'm Mishak.
And I'm Akiva.
And in this episode, we're going to be talking about
money conversations you should have with your partner before you get married.
So as you guys know, Akiva and I are getting married later on this year. And honestly, you're just going to be seeing a lot of videos like this around conversations that we think you should have with your potential spouse before you get married that will save you a lot of heartache and pain later on.
Yes. As you guys know, or if you don't know, money is one of the leading causes of divorce in America. So we're trying to not do that and be smart about the conversations that we have so you know exactly what you're getting into before you get into it. See what I mean? So here are some important money conversations we think every couple should have before they get married.
So the first conversation, or the first thing for each partner to know is about income that each partner makes. So there should be no secrets with how much she makes and how much I make. It should all be out there in the open for each partner to know. And alongside that, you also want to know kind of what their career trajectory and plans are, because that's going to affect how much money they make. So for example, if your potential spouse is thinking about making a career shift into a different industry or to a different job or to, just something or a position where they might be making a lot more money or something, in some cases, a lot less money, that's something that you're going to want to know what's kind of going on up there in terms of your plans, because that's going to affect your financial situation as a married couple. So you want to make sure that you have extensive conversations about that. Not that you're asking permission, but that you're just consulting each other and letting each other know kind of, this is what I think I'm going to do next in terms of career moves, and this is how it's going to affect us as a married couple. More so because it's not just going to affect you, it's also going to affect family planning, different things like that are not just in the present but will come in the future.
A third thing that also goes alongside that is gender roles. So for example, is the male in the, if it's a male-female relationship, is the male uncomfortable with making less money than the female if that's the situation that you're in, just like the situation that we're in? And we've done a video about that, and we'll link that up in the cards so you guys can see our thoughts about, women breadwinners and our thoughts and feelings about that. And that's going to be an important conversation to have, especially if you're from certain cultures where the man is expected to be the breadwinner and to take care of all the bills and do whatever, and also alongside that, understanding gender roles in terms of which bills am I expected to pay. Like, I don't know, Misha, you were saying, like, in your family, your culture.
In my family, the culture is for men to, if there's one bill that they pay, it is the rent or the mortgage, whatever it is, that will primarily be the bill that they're responsible for. Females will typically cover all of the other utilities, and maybe the man might stretch over into some of those utilities, but if nothing else that the man is responsible for paying, it's that rent or his mortgage.
A related conversation to that is also talking about your family history and your past when it comes to money, because the way that you saw money being handled or spoke about growing up is going to affect your current viewpoint on money, and then trying to combine that viewpoint with another person. So that can definitely be a common point of tension for a lot of couples. And so talking about your money habitudes, we did a video on like your money habits and your predispositions and things that that might create tension in your marriage if you have different value systems when it comes to money. So I'll put a link to that video also up in the cards. It wasn't our best quality video, but definitely in terms of content, it was up there. Yes. So it's a really cool tool that we've used and that we recommend if you kind of want to figure out your underlying money thoughts and values that you didn't even really know that you had. So we'll link that video up there for reference as well.
Something else that goes along with culture and family culture especially is if your spouse grew up seeing that, and I see all this in my family, where, we have family back home, wherever back home might be, that, we send barrels to, we send this to. That is something that could be passed down to you, where it's like you feel that it's now your time to carry on that, baton, that now you're of age where you can afford to do this, that, whenever time of the year, Christmas, whatever, that you're sending this barrel, but all throughout the year, you're spending money trying to fill this barrel up. Sometimes you might even be providing financial support to family members that are back home. So those are conversations that you want to make sure that you've had with your spouse, because if they come from a different culture than you and that's not something that they understand, you want to make sure that they are aware of those financial obligations that you have, and make sure that it's on par with, again, what is going to be best for your new family that has been created. Not saying that your old family is now not important or whatever, not saying that at all, but now you have created a new family, and honestly that should be your priority, doing what's best for that family unit.
And not just financial obligations to other family members, but other third parties. For example, if you support, a certain charity, or, some people who sponsor a child in a different country or something like that, just obligations that are really important to you, and as well as supporting, maybe you have child support that you pay for your own biological children, just other important financial obligations that you have. You want to make sure that that's all put out into the open, or the things that, are non-negotiable, or things that, maybe can be up for discussion, but things that you value very highly. You want to make sure you have those conversations with your potential spouse, so that is all in the open and there are no secrets or surprises when it comes to that, because that will obviously affect your joint finances. Another important conversation to have is just to understand each other's balance sheets. You guys have seen our net worth updates. It's definitely something that is not only shared between us, but that is shared to you guys as well. And I'll put a link to all of our net worth updates. I'll put a link to the playlist up in the cards if you guys want to check those out, so you can see all of our assets, all of our liabilities. You guys know what's going on with our financial situation, and that is something that is shared. So you know how much cash we have, do our investments look like, what kind of debts are we in, what kind of debt is it, what are the interest rates. We both are aware of that information for each other, and so there are no surprises when it comes to that. So everything is out in the open, and this is really, really important. And I think it's so important because financial infidelity is a big thing. And if you don't know what financial infidelity is, that can present itself in a number of forms. And one way is hiding assets, like having some secret bank account on the side that your spouse doesn't know about, blah blah blah. Like, I personally don't believe in that. I believe, yes, have your side money, but you'll know that I have side money. It's not going to be secret. You may not know, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to tell them exactly how much is in there, but say, hey, there's a bank account that I'm not telling you about, but just know that I have it. You know what I'm saying? So that there are no surprises. You're not just stashing money away and, your spouse is kind of caught blindsided by that. So that is something that I think is really important for establishing trust and just, preventing future issues in your marriage if things like that come up. Also for the purpose of, for security, and if anything were to happen to you, they know where to find your stuff when you get married. Yeah. That's also really important to know. Once you get married, that will be even more important. So just understanding all those things is really important.
And when it comes to debt, like Akiva mentioned, there are some debts that if your spouse or if you were to pass away, that they're no longer responsible for paying or, having to worry about. So it's just something good to know that, a good example is student loan debt. Okay, if something were to happen, that that's not something that you have to worry about. It probably won't be on your mind anyways, but it's just something good to know. Okay, well, if she's $200,000 in student loan debt, that, again, if something were to happen, God forbid, that, wow, that $200,000, we got married, but I don't have to worry about that. Like, I just have to worry about my debt that's left, student loan debt, if I have any. If I don't have any, then, if I was debt-free before we got married, I had debt, God forbid something happened to my spouse, now I don't have that debt, period. It's just something that's good for you to know.
Yeah, and debt can also be a really big point of contention. Like, if you worked really hard, or were blessed and fortunate enough in a lot of cases to be debt-free walking into marriage, and your spouse has, all this debt, that could definitely be a point of contention on various fronts. That spouse might be feeling like they're bringing baggage into the relationship, or that they're indebted to you because now your funds are also going to help pay off their debts and their obligations. And so just navigating the emotional nuances of that, not even just for the sake of preparing in terms of dollars and cents, knowing that, okay, now this is going to be something we're both going to have to deal with when we get married. There's also the emotional side of that, and making sure that you guys talk about that and work through that together.
Yeah. And this is something that I don't know, like, I don't think that we've really felt that. Like, I've seen videos where people feel that way, like, you know, oh, well, I'm bringing all this baggage into the relationship financially. I guess because, like Akiva mentioned in another video, we're kind of on equal footing, so it doesn't feel that way at all.
Right.
Like, we both have debt that we're bringing in, so we're just both broke and poor together.
Right.
But, you know, for someone who is in that situation, it's something that you want to know about up front. You don't want to be surprised after you're married and you find out that Susie or John has $100,000 in debt that you did not know about, that now, you know, you're obligated, or you feel obligated to help them pay for. So again, it depends on, you know, at that point, if they hide it from you or if you know about it before, the conversation that you're going to have. You two might decide that, you know what, that's your debt, you're going to figure that out yourself. Or you might say, well, you know what, it's now our debt, we're going to figure it out with all of our income.
And with debt, it's also important, I know we touched on earlier, like your money values and stuff, but I think it's also important to specifically dive into your feelings and your thoughts about debt, because there might be one spouse who, you know, they're indifferent to debt. They don't really care. They're not really motivated to pay it off. Or there might be one spouse that's like, you know, debt payoff all the way, and trying to find, you know, that balance and what works for the two of you guys in terms of your now joint financial plan going into the future, because that in and of itself could be a really big point of tension if one person is really into getting out of debt as soon as possible at all costs and one person is not. So that is something that you really, really want to discuss in detail. Another thing you want to talk about is just at least having a preliminary conversation about how you would handle your joint finances, whether you're trying to combine finances or keep things separate. Of course, your values and your family background, all that will tie into those conversations, but it's important to kind of have at least some kind of overall structure before you decide to get married.
So this is something that, again, family background plays a big role in it for myself. Not to put everyone's business out there, but what I've seen in my family is, for the most part, I've seen that some couples have chosen to have a main bank account that they have together while having their other accounts on the side. I've seen some couples that everything's separate. Like, you know, the man pays the rent, the female pays all the other utilities, and your money is your money, my money is my money. So I've seen it from different angles and different perspectives, and I think that ultimately it's whatever works for each couple. I don't think that there's a right or a wrong answer for how you choose to handle your finances. It's your personal choices, like Akiva said. Finances is like the #1 leading cause for divorce in the United States. I'm not sure about the world, but definitely in the United States. So if for you guys, peace of mind is your debt, you pay for it yourself, and I pay for my debt, and we keep our money separate. If that is what keeps your home happy, then do that.
Yeah, and that leads into another, going back to the credit conversation, another really important conversation you need to have is knowing each other's credit scores and credit history. Very, very, very important, especially if you're going to be looking to make joint financial purchases that will require credit. Even something as simple as renting an apartment together. Because you will be real shook if y'all try to even do something as simple as renting an apartment and one of you cannot get on the lease because your credit score is trash. So, it happens. So, understanding each other's credit score, knowing each other's credit scores and credit history, and understanding how that will play into your financial situation going forward is really, really, really important.
So tell us what you think down in the comments about what you think the conversation should be had before you get married. Do you think that the topics that we have covered here in this video are relevant? Do you think that there are things that we've missed? We want to hear from you down in the comments below. But don't forget to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you never miss when we post new content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye. Builders, and welcome back to another episode of the
I think we should try doing that together, like, hey, wealth builders.
Sure.
That's kind of corny, but we're gonna try it.
Hey, wealth builders. I'm Mishak.
That was mad delayed. Okay, let's do it again.